In Mr. Dolisager's speech class, each student is required to do a persuasive speech against each other.
Doing any kind of persuasive writing or persuasive speaking is important. There's lots of skills that go along with that.
And our opponents are CHENOA and GIOVANNI. The topic of today is Donald Trump a good president?
With them, I thought the topic was really interesting, and then I realized that they had kind of switched roles here. The person I thought would be pro-Trump was going to be anti-Trump, and the person who was normally anti-Trump was going to take the pro-Trump stance, and that to me was really interesting.
I picked the obvious answer. Of course, Donald Trump is a bad president. Gigi wanted to be the devil's advocate and thought we would be really funny if he just picked that Donald Trump is a good president, because he's a firm believer that he is not.
I think it's kind of easy to fall into that black hole that Trump is a good president, so I just thought to immerse myself into the conservative side for 6 minutes.
Will this be a civil discussion?
This debate is really going to change everybody's lives.
Or a heated debate?
There might even be some violence.
That's what we're going to find out.
Our first speaker, CHENOA Shed.
Right off the bat, CHENOA walks up to the pulpit with a purpose and gives us a shocking intro.
Donald J. Trump has been accused of sexual misconduct.
Kissed me again very aggressively. He was putting his hand up my skirt.
She would not be my first choice.
I was really anxious. I was really nervous, but I had to do it. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty.
I'm not usually a big fan of attention grabbers that you let the clip do the work for you. I like attention grabbers where the student is the star of the presentation and they engage with the audience.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is some of the many examples of the reality for America under Trump's presidency.
Attention grabber was good if the topic of the debate was, is Trump a good person?
He said a lot of dumb, offensive things like we all have, and that way I guess it was an effective attention grabber, but the question wasn't, is Trump a moral man? The question was, is Trump a good president? And I think right from the get-go, she maybe was off kilter there a little bit.
This raises the question of, is Trump a good president? The answer is no. Trump is a bad president because he created conflict, mistrust, and weakened the nation that he promised to make great.
CHENOA's attention grabber shook the audience to their core and it really questioned the validity of Trump's character. But what CHENOA said next shook the audience even more.
Donald Trump's leadership fueled tension, and his rhetoric fueled hostility and political polarization. If you don't know what polarization means, it means when people's political views move towards extreme ends, and it makes it harder to find a common ground.
Although she's 100% correct, it does fuel, political tension, causes more of a political divide. Then again, no one is forcing anybody to believe the rhetoric that they're being told.
By calling the other party the enemy of our country, it results in cultural division. It results in other parties spreading hatred to the so-called enemy, and it results in a slim, if not impossible, chance of unity in the United States of America.
I just wanted to be the voice. I wanted to be the light.
But I don't see the correlation between Trump calling the other side enemy of the state and causing a cultural divide. That example wasn't necessarily, I think, helping with a cultural divide.
If you thought the political polarization was bad, listen to what she says next about Trump.
Trump's real estate company tried to avoid renting to African American tenants and gave preferential treatments to whites.
Kind of hate that she pulled the black card. She tested me as a black man, but she is right. That is a horrible thing a person could do. But then again, all of the presidents we've had previously have done bad things, said bad things. I don't think it defines how you run a country.
Former President Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. He is the first ever former U.S. president to be convicted of a crime.
It is a great thing that she brought up that he was a 34-count felon, but back in Georgia, I do have an uncle who was also a 12-count felon, and I still love him to death. He provides Christmas gifts, and he supports children great, so I don't think that defines a person.
It's time to take it upon ourselves to educate one another on serious topics such as Trump's presidency for the future of our nation. Thank you.
Honestly, I thought I had great enthusiasm and energy coming into the speech. I think I could have better prepared myself because I memorized the intro and the first body paragraph. I didn't really utilize my time and I just read off of the paper for the rest of the speech.
Yes, Mr. Billy Slugger.
Does somebody have to be a moral person? Because I would agree with you, he's got morality issues in his past. Does someone have to be a moral person to be a good leader for a country?
Listen, I already knew that Mr. Dolly Slugger was gonna ask me a question. I mean, that's Mr. Dolly Slugger right there. Gladly, he didn't really ask me such a hard question.
I say it goes hand in hand because if you're gonna be the leader and the president of the United States of such a country where we're so very powerful and diverse and there's so many communities here, I feel like it's essential and crucial for such a leader to promote these values of decent moral decency.
I don't think that morality and being a good president go hand in hand. I don't think it does. Everybody right now watching this is not 100% morally correct or have a perfect moral compass.
I threw that question at her. I just wanted to see how she would respond to it. I thought she responded appropriately. Did it gain any votes or lose some votes for her? I don't know.
Honestly, I think I gave a pretty good answer, or even a great one.
CHENOA gave a very convicting speech that made the audience really question, is Trump actually a good president? But now, it is time for us to hear Gigi's side of the argument right now.
But battling for the red, white, and blue president, we got Giovanni Dorsey.
As Giovanni confidently struts to the podium, he proceeds to ask a thought-provoking question.
The question is Trump a good president? If you know me, or if you don't, of course you would be believing that I am not on this side of the debate. I'm here to tell you, I am on the side that Trump is a good president. I don't agree with what I said at all. I don't actually support Trump.
I thought Giovanni's attention grabber was really good. And with that said, he and I talked about it. I'm always there to talk with students, to give them ideas and things. To me, his best feature as a speaker is his honesty. When he just is honest about things, to see some vulnerability with him, which we don't normally see with him. That thesis statement as an attention grabber, I think worked really well for him.
Has Trump done wrong in his life? Of course. Which president hasn't? Obama with Gaddafi and the bombing of Libya, Nixon and the Watergate scandal. I was responding to my partner critiquing the decision-making of President Trump, but then again, which president hasn't made some questionable decisions? Like I made the example with Obama, Gaddafi. He was responsible for killing that prime minister, and that prime minister wanted to liberate Libya. All of these don't define these people morally. It just doesn't show them how they run the country. It shows how they are as people.
Giovanni then proceeds to talk good things about Donald Trump's presidency in order to get the conservative audience on his side. He talks about topics such as Donald Trump's border patrol.
As we can see right here, in Biden's term, he had nearly almost over 200,000 monthly encounters with immigrants coming into our country. Donald Trump had only 7,181 people coming into our country. In the conservative Republicans in the crowd, they would have loved that I said and mentioned how under Trump's presidency there's almost little to none.
His tax cuts on rich people.
As we can see, they will be losing $36,000 and $320 being taxed, while the tax increase will only be for the 20% by $790, while we can see for even the 4% and the 1% they're being taxed almost 3 to 4 times more than middle and lower class families.
And the fact that Donald Trump had 0 slaves.
Almost half of our founding fathers owned slaves. As you can see right here, George Washington, like I said, owned 317 slaves, but he led the Continental Army and presided over the Constitutional Convention, which led to the creation, as I said, of the Constitution. Donald Trump owned 0.
At this point of the speech, Gigi was feeling highly favored.
Look at the impact and not the man. Decide for yourself what leadership looks like, and vote for those candidates that follow in the footsteps of such a great leader. Thank you.
Just as when Giovanni thought he was at the top of his game, Diligent came in with a tough question.
Read it again. That says it's a tax increase of that much money for poorer people and a tax cut of that much money for rich people.
I noticed that on the graph, it read that it was taxing people of lower income more and taxing people with higher incomes less. But he said the opposite during his speech, and he meant it as the opposite because his speech was in favor of this. so he was trying to make it seem better, but in reality it was the opposite of what he actually said.
Right, so is there a subtraction by the 36,320, or is it a plus like it is on the 15% to 20%?
Yeah, that subtraction is less money being taxed to them.
That's how much they're being taxed a year. Dylan Sheen was the only person to actually point that graph out. No one else in the class, like my teacher, who is a hardcore conservative, didn't realize the discrepancy in the graph. So I think that just shows you how easily swayed the class can be by how charismatic a person is.
But Dylan Sheen wasn't the only person that was asking tough questions.
Your opponent, I think, insinuated that Trump is a racist. Now I have to ask you, do you think that he's a racist?
Undoubtedly. Which president has done anything for the black community? Of course I have to represent for my black brothers and sisters watching. Of course he is a racist.
All right, thank you, John. Recall right there, your round of applause.
Giovanni gave an introspective speech that was frankly a little controversial. And now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Voting time.
I've heard so many students say, I don't care if I lose. I don't believe anybody who actually says that. Nobody wants to lose.
I think she did really well presenting her information, but I think the topic of the debate was kind of forgotten.
Don't get me wrong, Gigi's speech was spectacular, but honestly, going into his speech, I didn't really sense the attention grabber, or did he even have one?
CHENOA and Gigi must now put their money where their mouth is.
Okay. Giovanni.
It was pretty obvious I was going to win because I had a strong feeling that CHENOA was going to go into the argument attacking him as a person. So I kind of just called me prophetic, but I predicted the future and just kind of played my argument against that. And long and behold, it was true.
Although CHENOA had an amazing speech, Giovanni would end up coming out on top and being the winner, thus concluding our speeches for today. See you.